every emotion tells a love story at Siesta Musica.
There must be love somewhere in my life. There's something about your touch when I'm
Precious and few are the moments we took.
Your greatest love songs all the way from 2 to 4 every Saturday at Siesta Musica. Join Dream Car Announcer at Siesta Musica every Saturday from 2 to 4 in the afternoon dito sa inyong nag-iisang himpilan, Cool FM. Mapapakul ka dito! Reminisce the memories and the good times at Siesta Musica.
early morning sunshine.
Ikaw, mahal, tanging ikaw.
I sail over seven seas to find
Your greatest love songs all the way from 2 to 4 every Saturday at Siesta Musica. Join Dream Car Announcer at Siesta Musica every Saturday from 2 to 4 in the afternoon dito sa inyong nag-iisang himpilan, Cool FM. Mapapakul ka dito! Love songs straight from the heart at Siesta Musica.
I'd be a fool if I couldn't see. Baby, kung mahal ka niyan talaga.
who broke your heart and made you write that song.
Your greatest love songs all the way from 2 to 4 every Saturday at Siesta Musica. Join Dream Car Announcer at Siesta Musica every Saturday from 2 to 4 in the afternoon dito sa inyong nag-iisang himpilan, Cool FM. Mapapakul ka dito!
Lahat ng drama, lahat ng tawanan, lahat ng iyong all-time hits. Ang tanging huntahan ng Masanggamaw. #1 sa Mega Manila, nationwide pa. Broadcasting from TGON, TVH Group of Networks. Dito lang sa inyong iisang himpilan. Cool FM! You are listening to Cool FM, live from Cool Studios. This is Cool News at 6.
Good evening, this is Cool News at 6. I'm Kyle. The Philippine Coast Guard has already dispatched a ship to replace BRP Teresa Bangua in Escoda sa Binacio in the West Philippine Sea, but they had to seek shelter due to bad weather, National Security Advisor Eduardo Ano said. The weather is not good right now, Ano said in an ambush interview on Friday, partly in Filipino, while assuring that the PCG has plans to replace BRP Teresa Bangua. Actually, our Coast Guard has already sent a boat, but because of the weather, it needs to seek shelter first, he added. After more than 5 months, the BRP Teresa Bangua left Escoda Shoal and arrived in Princesa Princesa, Palawan on Sunday with 4 dehydrated crew members who subsisted on rice porridge and rainwater weeks period as China Coast Guard chartered the delivery of supplies. We will always make sure our presence and access to Sabina Shoal will be continuous, Ano said. Escoda Shoal serves as the rendezvous point for Filipino vessels carrying out resupply missions to the naval outpost in Ayungin Shoal, where the naval outpost BRP Teresa Sierra Mare, which is the main flashpoint of tensions between Manila and Beijing, has been aground since 1999. Chinese state publication Global Times once claimed that BRP Teresa Bangua is semi-grounded in the show, similar to what it said the country did with the BRP Teresa Mare. Critics fear the pullout of BRP Teresa Bangua may lead to the repeat of China's de facto takeover of Scarborough Panadoc Shoal in 2012, an assertion repudiated by the government. Former Senator Leila de Lima, who was detained for more than 6 years for drug-related charges during the Duterte administration, on Friday said it seemed that there was a pattern in branding political rivals as drug lords. De Lima was reacting to the revelations of former Iloilo City Mayor Jet Patrick Mabilog, who was likewise linked to the illegal drugs trade. I was the first one they expurged. Like what former Mayor Balilog said, it is not true that he should be on the list. He was just targeted because of politics. Dilemma said in an Ambush interview. That's the pattern if we base it on his revelation, she added. Bilog on Thursday also revealed that there was a scheme to force him to tag former Senators Manuel Roxas and Franklin Dillon as drug lords. Bayan Muna Chairperson Nari Colmenares on Friday called for the halt of water authority privatization following the water rate increase by Manila Water Company. According to Colmenares, the privatization of the water concession only burdens the consumers. He also called for a review of the rate hike agreement. Water, as a basic necessity, must be managed by the state. The privatization of water utilities has resulted in exorbitant rates that continuously exploit the Filipino people, Colmenares said in a statement. The Bayan Muna chairperson also said that consumers have been facing staggering increases in rate hikes since the privatization of the Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewage System in 1997. The privatization model has failed, as evidenced by the numerous water interruptions and the failure of concessionaires to fulfill their obligations. The state must reclaim control to ensure fair and equitable water distribution, he added. MSS announced on Monday that the Manila Water Company will be implementing a hike of 0.86 pesos per cubic meter starting on October 1. Manila water consumers using 60 cubic meters will have an increase of 8.10 pesos in monthly water bills and a 16.54 increase pesos for those using 30 cubic meters. Meanwhile, Manila will decrease its rate by 0.29 pesos per cubic meter. Manila consumers with 20 cubic meters will pay 3.14 pesos less, while the water bill of those with 30 cubic meters will go down by 6.43 pesos. The rate hike is due to the foreign currency differential adjustment. Colmenares noted that FCPA justifies the rate hikes, adding that consumers are forced to shoulder additional charges, which include a 12% value-added tax and a 20% environmental charge on top of the FCDA. The National Consultation and Mediation Board has scheduled a mediation conference on September 23, 2024 in response to escalating tensions at the Oriental Port and Allied Service Corporation. This comes after over 200 employees, retirees, and shareholders petitioned for the immediate resignation of CEO Lord Thomas Riverol and General Manager Corey Velasco on September 17. They accused them of mismanagement, conflict of interest, and neglecting their duties to the workforce. On September 19, Dennis Arciga, president of Local 1 Union and barangay captain of Tinago, Cebu City, filed a notice of strike against the management, citing unfair labor practices. In his complaint, he referenced the violation of Article 259E, which involves discrimination regarding wages, hours of work, and other terms and conditions of employment aimed at discouraging union membership. He also pointed to the failure to implement Article 4, Section 1A to B of the Collective Bargaining Agreement and raised concerns about union busting, accusing the management of actions intended to undermine or dissolve the union. The petition, filed on September 17, called for the two top officials to step down, claiming that their continued leadership could cause further damage to the company. The scheduled mediation will be held at the Department of Labor and Employment Regional Office, where Paul Rivel and representatives from the workers, retirees, and shareholders will be to discuss the issues outlined in the petition. Mediator Rosemary Oxino will preside over the discussions, which are expected to tackle allegations of corporate mismanagement, nepotism, financial opacity, and failure to hold elections for board members in over 2 decades. The public must not be complacent as Mount Calon in Negros Island could still erupt, similar to what happened in June, Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology or PhilVolcs Director Teresito Bacocol said on Friday. Last June 3, PhilVolcs raised Mount Calon status from Alert Level 1 to Alert Level 2 after an explosive eruption from its summit vent. In a televised interview, Bacocol said a similar activity could happen anytime. Right now, Calon volcano is under Level 2 and its activities could still escalate further. Yes, it is still possible that it could erupt, said Bacocol at the Banco Pilipinas Noyon briefing when asked if there was a high chance of a erratic eruption from the volcano again. He also noted that the erratic eruption is also possible even if the volcano is on alert level 0. That's why our recommendation to our fellow citizens is not to enter the 4-kilometer permanent danger zone, as a erratic eruption could occur at any time, Bacocol added. As of September 19, the sulfur dioxide emissions from the volcano's crater currently average 8,932 metric tons a day. Former Iloilo Mayor Jed Malibok was not on the initial list of police generals and government officials supposedly aiding the illegal drug trade, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency said. Instead, PDA officials told the House of Representatives Squad Committee on Thursday that the former local chief executive's name was only included in the list produced by them President Rodrigo Duterte. During his turn to interpellate PDEA, Abang Lingkod Party List Representative Joseph Stephen Paduano asked the agency's official to clarify if Bilok was actually part of the so-called narcosis. In response, incumbent PDEA Director General Maro Vilgilo Lazo confirmed that Malibok's name was just included later on. Now, question on the Duterte's list. Just to be clear, is the Duterte's list true? Were the information validated? Did it go to vetting? Let me ask DG Lazo with regards to the case to the case of Mayor Jed Balibok. DG Lazo, do you confirm that indeed in the PDA list as claimed by Mayor Jed Balibok, his name was not on the PDA list? Paduano asked. Yes, Mr. Chairman. Initially, it was not on the list, but later on, his name was included. Lazo replied. Lazo then asked the court committee if we could let PDA's Intelligence Service Director Emi Tio Bitong explain the timeline of how Malibong's name found its way to the narcosis. Bitong then said that there were only 3,363 personalities in the first list, and this number swelled to 6,191 after several lists were merged. However, it increased further to 6,221 because of the inclusion of other names, including Malibok. It is officially called President's Drug List on paper, but then it became publicly known to be the PRRD's list. And only on, let me just mention first that the second list that you mentioned, sir, was obtained again from the Office of the President, dated August 29, 2017, Bitong explained. This was merged with the first list, and the number is 6,191. It was only on October 19, 2017 when the names mentioned earlier by the President were 159, including the name of Mayor Balibok, but the rest were already included earlier. So only 30 that were not yet included in the earlier list that were added, he added. Antipolo 2nd District Representative Romero Acob then asked PDEA if Bilok's name was not yet on the list when Duterte attacked the former mayor, which Bitong confirmed. Bilok, who was present during the House hearing, denied being a protector of illegal drugs, claiming that it was only due to politics that he was tagged as such. During the same hearing, Balibok claimed that a Philippine National Police General told him that he would be forced to link a former senator and a former presidential candidate to the illegal drug trade if he surrendered to police officials at Camp Carmen. Coming up on koolNews at 6, Bangko Sentro ng Pilipinas trims bank's cash requirement. The Malata warns that higher electricity rates could be possible, sends appointee. And in international news, U.S. shares blamed for violence shaking Mexico drug cartel, according to Obrador. European Union Parliament recognizes Maduro's rival as Venezuela president. And in entertainment news, Sting Lim takes aviation course to fulfill childhood dream. It is now 6:11 in the evening, and koolNews at 6 will be right back. at 6. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas on Friday announced it will further reduce the reserve requirement ratio of banks in a bid to inject more liquidity to the domestic economy. The BSP will cut the RRRs by 250 basis points for universal and commercial banks and non-bank financial institutions with crude banking functions, 200 basis points for digital banks, and 100 basis points for trip banks and for rural banks and cooperative banks. The reduction shall bring the RRRs of UKBs and NBQBs to 7.0%, digital banks to 4.0%, TBs to 1.0%, and RCBs to 0.0%. The new ratio shall take effect on the reserve week beginning on October 25, 2024 and shall apply to the local currency deposits and deposit substitute liabilities of banks and NBQBs. The MPSP emphasizes that these adjustments in reserve requirements are in line with its continuing efforts to reduce distortions in the financial system. The reductions will lower intermediation costs and promote better pricing for financial services, the central bank said. Power consumers from all over the country, particularly in the Visayas, may have to pay higher electricity bills next month if Malacanang fails to appoint a temporary head of the Energy Regulatory Commission, its MPLO chief warned on Thursday. Suspended ERC Chair Mona Lisa Di Manlata explained that at least 23 electric cooperatives had pending cases with the Commission, particularly power supply agreement applications. PSAs are signed between power distributors and generators in order to avoid having to purchase electricity from the wholesale electricity spot market, whose prices are volatile, as these depend largely on supply and demand. These high prices are passed on to consumers under generation charge or the cost of power purchased from suppliers that accounts for more than half of the consumers' monthly electricity bill. But without an appointed head of the ERC, it will not be available to act on these cases, Di Manlata pointed out. We have 23 ECs to have an exposure to WESM by more than 50%, and that's big, she said during a forum. Data from the Independent Electricity Market Operator of the Philippines show that as of Thursday afternoon, prices at WESM, the country's trading floor for large-scale power buyers and sellers, averaged 3.19 pesos per kilowatt hour. In contrast, PSAs entered into by distributors and generators often have fixed prices that need to be lower than the WESM average. Di Manlata's warning came nearly 2 weeks after she vacated her post as head of the energy sector regulator following a 6-month preventive suspension order from the Office of the Ombudsman. The anti-graft body maintained the Office of the Executive Secretary to attempt to appoint an officer in charge, but Malacanang has yet to name a temporary ERC chief. In an August 20 decision, the Ombudsman said the case stemmed from a complaint of the National Association of Electricity Consumers for Reforms Incorporated, or NASECOR, that the ERC had failed to recalculate the rate of Morocco that protects the interests of the public due to regulatory delays. Di Manlata filed a motion for reconsideration on September 11 and clarified that the ERC already decided on Morocco's case on August 21, or a day after the Ombudsman's suspension order. Ombudsman Samuel Martires signed the order on August 27. Morocco sought the ERC's approval of its annual revenue requirement and spending scheme for the fifth regulatory period covering July 2022 to June 2026. During this period, a regulated entity such as Morocco needs to submit its expected spending and propose projects, while the ERC will evaluate how much of it should be passed on to consumers. NASECOR argued that delays on the part of the ERC were detrimental to the electricity end users. Di Manlata explained that in a 3-2 vote of its commissioners, the ERC ruled that Morocco's current 1.35 pesos per kilowatt hour distribution charge will be in fact until 2026 or the end of the 5RP. Morocco had applied for an average price of 1.57 pesos per kilowatt hour for the period. According to Di Manlata, 3 of the 5 commissioners voted to consider the 5RP lapse, therefore allowing Morocco to apply its existing rate. But in dissenting, Di Manlata argued that the period had not technically ended yet and that a lower distribution charge could have been possible if the ERC had reviewed the manual beginning that distributors' rates. We have not reset rates for 10 years, so why would we opt not to reset rates again? Di Manlata said. We could still have done it. Consumer groups and interventors have told us that distribution rates should be lower. The ERC has yet to release its decision on Morocco's case, which had been delayed since 2021. In a separate statement, Morocco said it had yet to receive a copy of the ERC's decision, adding that the regulator should have decided on this filing before the beginning of 5RP on July 1, 2022. Just like for other distribution of royalties, rate-listed applications are necessary for Morocco to be able to implement projects and programs that will ensure fulfillment of our mandate to deliver stable and reliable service to our customers, it said. Mexican, and now for the international news, Mexican President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador said Thursday that the United States shared the blame for the bloody drug cartel infighting that erupted in the country after Washington arrested a narco kingpin. The northwestern state of Sinaloa has been racked by violence following the dramatic July arrest of Sinaloa cartel co-founder Ismael Mayo Zambada, who claimed he was kidnapped in Mexico and delivered into U.S. custody against his will. Zambada, age 76, was detained along with Joaquin Guzman Lopez, a son of El Chapo, who is serving a life sentence in the United States. The violence is believed to pit gang members loyal to El Chapo and his sons against others aligned with Zambada, who pleaded not guilty to a raft of charges in the New York court last Friday, September 13. Bodies have been abandoned in the streets and residents left terrified as gunfire, abductions, arson, and armed clashes have left more than 40 dead in less than 2 weeks. Lopez Obrador said the United States bore some of the responsibility for having carried out that operation to arrest Zambada. Zambada was arrested on U.S. soil but said he was taken there against his will. Washington denies having planned his capture. Lopez Obrador said the arrest produced the confrontation that is taking place in Sinaloa. And the European Parliament on Thursday passed a resolution recognizing Venezuelan opposition candidate Edmundo González Urrutia as the country's legitimate president after incumbent Nicolas Maduro claimed a victory in the disputed election. The vote, which is non-binding and does not reflect the stance of European Union countries, came after center-right lawmakers teamed up with a new far-right grouping in the move denounced by the left. González Urrutia, who has fled to Spain, claims he was the winner of the July presidential election that gave Maduro a third six-year term, a claim recognized by the United States. So far, however, Spain and other European Union nations have limited themselves to refusing to accept Maduro as the victor and calling on the Venezuelan government to release the voting tally sheets. The EU should do its uttermost to ensure that Edmundo González Urrutia, the legitimate and democratically elected president of Venezuela, can take office on 10th of January 2025, the European Parliament said. The lawmakers, who passed the resolution by 309 votes for 201 against, also urged the 27-nation bloc to impose sanctions on Maduro and his inner circle. González Urrutia, age 75, came to the European Parliament for the vote, calling it the reconciliation of the sovereign will of the people of Venezuela. My message to Venezuelans is this: the international community continues to increase the support, he posted on X. And now, let's get into the showbiz news. Sian Lim is fulfilling his childhood dream of becoming a pilot as he has taken the first step and enrolled himself at an aviation school. The actor has been documenting the process, showing himself attending his aviation classes through his Instagram page. In one of his posts, Lim can be seen having fun with pilots while in the class. In the seventh video shared by the aviation school, Lim spoke about his aviation dream. It has always been my dream when I was a kid, he said. There's that certain level of respect when you meet pilots. You know, when you look up in the sky, you ask yourself, how does that even work? How do they fly? It's a thing na gusto ko talaga gawin, but I just didn't know how, yung mga first steps to take, he added. Aside from being an actor, Lim has also ventured into filmmaking. The most recent movie he helmed is the 2024 horror film Kumante Hong, which also had his girlfriend Iris Lee as the producer. And Wolfgang frontman Basti Artadi disclosed that the band had reached out several times to record labels Ivory Music and Victor Music for fair adjustment on their 30-year-old contract, but that they never heard back in the affirmative. Artadi earlier revealed that Wolfgang does not support the upcoming release of their self-titled album vinyl under the record labels, as the band will only get a mature 2.40 pesos royalty per 1,900 pesos worth record. Adding to his statement that made headlines, Artadi said in the comments section of his Instagram post, "I just want to thank everyone for the attention this is getting, and for all the positive responses. I cannot say how appreciative I am." The musician then made clarifications on the matter, also saying that they had already attempted to reach out to the record labels prior to making a public statement. To those wondering, our royalty rate is not a percentage. It is 0.30 cents per song per album sold. We have 8 songs on that record. This is a 30-year-old contract we had with Ivory, he said. Despite many attempts to reach out to them with offers to work together on this release, on the condition of a fair adjustment to our contract, I never heard back in the affirmative, he lamented. Our Daddy earlier announced that the band has other plans on their self-titled album which they will roll out on its 30th anniversary in 2025. Ivory Music and Victor Music meanwhile have yet to address the matter as of this writing. And that is it for Cool News at 6. Until then, I'm Caro. We will be back for more headlines later with Cool News Prime Time at 9. Goodbye for now.